Okay guys, so in this video we're going to do something I've kind of been playing around with recently. So we'll try and get through this without making any mistakes. It's about destructible meshes. So what we want to do is, so say that you could break through one of these walls, like you could shoot them down, or one of the buildings, you could shoot them and they'd all collapse. Or if there was, like in a game where you might have an area where that particular area you could break down, whereas some you can't, to get through to a different area perhaps. That's what we kind of want to work towards. So we're going to show you how to create like a wall that you can destroy. And you could apply that to anything else that you wanted to within the game, essentially. So I've been playing around with it. I've got some notes on how I did it. So we'll try and get through this together. But the first thing you need to do, the destructible meshes used to be built in, but now it's a plugin that you have to just install. So if you go up to edit up the top here, you see you've got your plugins. So if you click that, well, essentially there's absolutely loads and loads of different plugins that are available. You can just install them. And the one that we want is called Apex Destruction. Okay, so if you just search up here, Apex Destruction, I've already got mine turned on. So you just need to click it and install it. Okay, so yeah, let's say this is the one I wanted. You just click in enabled. Okay, and it might take a couple of minutes to install, but it shouldn't take too long. When you've got that, by the way, these things that you can see here, just ignore these for now. I know you won't have these as part of yours. They're just some things some other things I was messing around with from the Unreal Marketplace, which we'll go over at some point. But if you go to your starter content and go to that architecture folder we had before, so we're just going to use one of these walls as our destructible wall for an example. But again, like I said, you could use anything. You could use the rock, the chairs if you really wanted to. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate one. I'm going to choose this one because it's the biggest one, 500 by 500. And I'm going to duplicate it and just give it something. Destroy wall. The name that you're going to remember. I've made a destroy wall before, apparently. I'm just going to call it destroy. That's fine. When you've done that, you need to right click it. And when you've installed the plugin, you'll see this option here, create destructible mesh. Okay, so if you click that, it opens this other window, which you can navigate in as normal for creating a destructible mesh. Then over here, all we need to turn on is enable impact damage. I think that's about it. So a quick check. Impact damage, cell site count, that's it. So that is down here. So it's at 25 normally, but if you click fracture mesh, you can see a preview of how that's going to destroy itself, or how that's going to fracture when something hits it. Obviously all these pieces will then have physics on it, which means it will collapse. But if you change the cell site count, if I lower it and click fracture mesh again, you see it's less pieces. I want it to break up into quite a few pieces, maybe like 30. Okay, that'll do. It depends on the object and what you want to do. We can do see this explode amount. If you just adjust that, you can kind of preview how that detaches. Obviously, it's going to depend how it's hit to how it reacts with the physics. But if it just exploded from the center, it would do that. But that's fine. So I'm going to click save and close that down. Okay, so now you see I've got another object here, which has got the red line underneath it, which is the destructible mesh version. So you can drop that into your level if you want. Okay, and for now, I don't think it'll do anything. Yep, you'll notice, hold on, because I've been playing around with it, mine's got some different things in here, so it's going to be a bit of a reverse engineering for this one, but I'm sure you'll be fine. See that if I've got it set up there, if I shoot with my left click, I've got the normal yellow projectiles. If I right click, I've got these grey ones which don't kill the boxes, but they will shoot through the wall. Okay, which is kind of reacting a bit weirdly at the moment, but it's probably because we haven't set it up. So yeah, that's that bit essentially that we've done. So drag it in, turn on simulate physics. So see our object that we've dragged in here. Over to the right hand side, you'll see a section called physics, and you need to turn on simulate physics. Okay. And again, you see that when I'm coming in and shooting mine at the moment, yours won't react exactly the same because you haven't got everything set up correctly right now. So, but that's essentially what's going to happen. So that when we sort of, it won't do anything with the yellow ones, but with the grey ones, we can shoot it and it destroys it. Okay. So, where were we? And there's a collision physics actor. So again, let's select our destructible wall. Add physics, simulate physics. I've forgotten what it was now already. Collision physics actor. Okay, so we got your collision section. You have different collision presets. It's preset to destructible, and you would think that would be the best one to work, but physics actor simulates the physics a bit better. Okay, so it's that section done. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated with the multiple different projectiles. So what you need to do is create a duplicate of the projectile. So if we go into your blueprints, what all of your blueprints are, you'll have this, the first person projectile. See, I've already done it. If you right click it and click duplicate, you'll have a second one, okay, which will look identical. Okay, if you double click your second one to load it up, what I did in the viewport is I just clicked it and I changed the material to grey, just so I can tell the difference. Okay, so you want to do that first of all. So we need to copy and paste in the spawn code in the character. Right. So all of this essentially, let's just go to the character first. So your first person character, okay, double click him. What you can see is, see this spawn projectile that's in your character? You'll see this, that'll all be there for you. Okay, so if you highlight all of it, Control C, come over somewhere else like here, Control V, and you'll paste it up here. Okay, and then what we need to do, so it says right mouse button up here. So the original one, you've got input action fire. Okay, so on this one, you delete that, and then you right click up here and you type in right mouse button. Okay, which will get you this one, and then you just plug that into there as kind of a replacement. Okay, so you've got two bits of code for two projectiles. One is the input action fire, which is already set up for us, which is the left mouse. And this new one that we've created, which just does the same thing, but it's right mouse button. And then it plays a little animation. And over here where it says spawned projectile, you need to change that to, you can see in the path there that it's first person projectile 1, which is the duplicate one that I made. Okay, which is that one. Hopefully that makes sense. So we've duplicated it, so we've got two of them. And then in the character, we have duplicated the spawn code and changed it to a different key and spawning the different projectile. Okay, hopefully you're with me so far. Change right there. Okay, so we've done that. So in the new projectile collision component, turn on simulate physics. So the new projectile, that's this one, the one that we made grey. In the collision component, up here, select that and turn on simulate physics. Okay, see I've got mine on already because I've set mine up beforehand. So you need to turn yours on. Then in the collision preset, you need to have physics actor like we did with the wall. So collisions, collision preset, weirdly mine's custom. Okay, well I know mine works, so if yours is custom, leave as that. Collision, fine, whatever. So yours, just make sure yours, you know, if you need to pause the video, make sure yours is the same. I hope it might be that by default, but that's fine. Then compile it and close it. Done that. Going to make that a different color just in case we need to come back to it. And then in the sphere, we need the collision preset to be overlap all dynamic. Okay, let's go back into here, sphere. Don't turn on physics here, simulate physics. In the collision preset, overlap all dynamic. Okay, which we've got there. Okay, that's fine. And then back to the original projectile. Let's open that guy up. Make sure you're compiled, closed to the original one. Double click in. And then on collision object, ignore destructible. So collision component. So we come down to the collision section. So you've got like, you can, it's basically custom. So you can have it to what it could ignore, overlap and block. So where you've got destructible, tick that to ignore. Okay. And that's it. Then you should just compile, close it down. And then hopefully you've done everything correctly and you'll have the same system that I have here. So your left click will be your yellow projectiles, which you can use to shoot boxes. And your right click is a different type of projectile that you can get to destroy walls with. Okay, so it's kind of a simple sort of setup of getting a different sort of weapon, I suppose. You could, if you're confident, the way that we did the spawning with the key, you could create an object that spawns, which using the like a boolean, you could set it up so that you collect it, and then you're able to use right click to fire this different projectile. Okay. At the moment, that's doing this. Okay. Well, that's a bit weird. Hold on. We've got an error here because both of these will do it. That does it way too fast. So let's just go back in here and see if we can fix that. I told you I've been playing around with it, so alright. This probably was this, wasn't it? Okay. No, that was in the duplicate. Oh, my original one. Collision component. Ignore destructible objects. Let me just pause and see if I can work it out. Okay, yeah. So the only issue was that this wall here. So if you remember originally, we changed that to a physics actor on its collisions. That's my mistake. You do want it actually to be destructible. So leave that as destructible. And then yellow ones won't work. They won't work on that particular type of wall. But the other ones will. Okay, so just a nice little feature that I've been playing around with that I thought you might be interested in doing as well. It's a nice mechanic that can be put into your level designs. And obviously you wouldn't have just a wall randomly here. You'd integrate it into the level properly so you can access another area and things like that. Okay, so hopefully you might want to watch this video a couple of times to get it right, but it should work for you too. Okay.